You definitely know this melody, but I bet you've never heard its secret history. Today, we're going to uncover how a peaceful, almost meditative tune by John Lennon got completely flipped on its head and turned into one of music's most brutal and honest confessions. This is the story of a song, Reborn.
Yeah, you know these words. That honesty is so raw, it's almost uncomfortable, right? This is Jealous Guy, a song that just lays bare all the insecurity and regret that can come with loving someone so intensely. The music itself is beautiful, almost heartbreakingly so, but the lyrics? Oof, they're a punch to the gut.
But okay, here's the twist. What if I told you that gorgeous, painful melody wasn't even written for this confession? What if it started its life as this gentle, meditative tune, all about connecting with the universe? Let's go back to the very beginning.
So first, let's just start with the song we all know, Jealous Guy, a brutal confession that became an absolute classic. Ever since it came out in 1971, Jealous Guy has been burned into our minds as this incredibly raw apology. It's him publicly admitting his faults, giving us a look inside the mind of a man just grappling with his own possessiveness. It's painful, it's honest, and you know what? It's become an anthem for pretty much anyone who's ever felt that same sting of jealousy. But to get the real story, we have to rewind the clock. Because before there was a Jealous Guy, there was a completely different song, written in a completely different world. So check out this timeline. It shows this fascinating 3-year gap. In 1968, John Lennon's in India with the Beatles, and he writes this song called Child of Nature. Then you fast forward to 1971, the Beatles are over, and he releases that same melody but with a brand new identity, Jealous Guy. You gotta ask, right? What in the world happened in those 3 years? Well, the original song was the total opposite of Jealous Guy. I mean, Child of Nature was inspired by a lecture from the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. It was optimistic, peaceful. It was a reflection of Lennon's whole journey to find himself and connect on a spiritual level, a pure product of that moment in time. The transformation is just stark when you put the lyrics side by side. The 68 version, Child of Nature, kicks off with this line about spiritual awakening. On the road to Rishikesh, I was dreaming more or less. But by 71, that same musical phrase introduces pure anxiety. I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. It's the same music, carrying two totally opposite emotional loads. It's wild. So, this is where the story gets really interesting. That 3-year gap we saw wasn't just a quiet period. No way. It was a seismic shift for the world and for John Lennon personally. I mean, what could possibly happen in just 3 years to make an artist completely rewrite the emotional core of his own song? Well, pretty much everything. The Beatles, the biggest band on the planet, fell apart in a super messy breakup. Lennon started his intense, all-consuming relationship with Yoko Ono, which put him under this huge public microscope. He totally shed his pop star persona and launched a solo career that was all about raw, confessional songwriting. He went through primal scream therapy, which forced him to confront all this deep-seated trauma. And, culturally, the hopeful vibes of the 60s were dying, and the much more turbulent 70s were taking over. His entire world changed. And all of that personal chaos, all that soul-searching, it created the perfect storm for this forgotten melody to be reborn and finally find its true purpose. Child of Nature was a good song, for sure, but it was really just a snapshot of a feeling. Lennon actually tried to record it for the White Album, but it got shelved. It was an idea without a home. But then, in 1971, with a new, much more painful truth to tell, he resurrected that sweet melody. He realized it was the perfect vehicle for a brutally honest set of lyrics, and it finally found its perfect home on the iconic Imagine album. And this is the genius of it. That gentle, almost peaceful melody, which once carried words about finding yourself, now creates this incredible tension. It clashes with those harsh, self-critical lyrics. The sweetness of the music actually makes the bitterness of the words hit that much harder. It just amplifies the vulnerability, making the whole confession feel even more real and just heartbreaking.
So, what does this story really tell us? Because it's more than just a piece of Beatles trivia. It's a fascinating look into the creative process itself. This really shows how great ideas evolve. First, Lennon captured a beautiful melody and he held on to it even when the first set of lyrics didn't stick. Then his life changed, dramatically, giving him a whole new story to tell. Finally, he went back to that old melody and completely reinvented it, shaping it to fit a new, more urgent truth. It's a masterclass in not letting a good idea die. And this isn't just some fan theory either. This analysis right here confirms the connection, alluding to John's original lyric for Jealous Guy. The history of Child of Nature is a known part of the Beatles' story, and a powerful reminder of how deeply personal experiences shape an artist's work.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It's like that sweet melody was just waiting for its true meaning to show up. It proves that sometimes a song isn't finished when it's written, but when the artist has lived enough to finally understand what it's trying to say. So the next time you hear a classic song, maybe ask yourself, what other secret histories might be hiding right there in plain sight?